All right, folks, the camera's on, so I'm going to call the meeting to order. Meeting of Unit 3 School Board, January 5th, 2016. And we're going to cruise right along here. We've got kind of a long and complicated agenda. We have everybody here for public comment. So we will, I'd like a motion to go into executive session to discuss student discipline and negotiations. Actually, let me just, before we do that, please say, we're going to add an executive session on negotiations to the agenda. And we are going to also talk about a policy that was in the packet, but not on the agenda. We're going to review that policy.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion to go into executive session to discuss student discipline and negotiations. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Why was Lennon involved with the negotiation?
He was not involved in negotiations. Don't forget we're out of executive session now, but he wasn't involved in negotiation. But if you'll recall, he came to a UD3 meeting and during public comment made some comments about the difficulty of maintaining that evening staff. He was a big stick over there.
All right, so we are out of executive session. Ready to move forward. I don't know if anybody's got any motions they'd like to make.
I'd like to make a motion on one of the student hearings that we heard tonight to accept the recommendation from the administration.
Second.
And just to clarify, this would be on the first hearing. All right, all those in favor of accepting the recommendation of the administration for the student discipline issue number 1, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, the motion carries. Thank you all for your time and energy in that process. Okay, let's approve some minutes.
We got to work this later.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank you, JP. Move to approve the minutes. And Rick seconded. All those in favor, or any corrections, adjustments, whatever?
That was a perfect question.
Well done.
Can we add that? I think it was so good.
Is there a motion on the table?
Yeah, exactly. I feel emotional.
All the time.
All right, all those in favor of accepting the minutes, as you can see, will you say aye?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Anybody abstained?
Who was the second one?
JP. All right, and now who's handling bills tonight here?
That would be me.
All right, Lorraine.
December 15th, Steve and I met, and we had the following figures. Food service, $25,342.37. And from general fund, $1,383,047.26. Today, JP and I met, and we had bills in the amount of food service $25,000 and from general fund $688,591.46. And I would move that we approve all of those numbers.
Second.
All of those in favor of paying the bills, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That also passes. And thank you guys. We're talking about all these other things that go on, but good folks who show up month to month, week to week to do that. So thanks. Okay, number 6 on our agenda under report of the principals is action on recommended school choice capacity. If you folks remember, each year that level has to be set by the board as to how many school choice students we can accept at NUHS. The principal has recommended we maintain the level at 15. And any further comments on that?
My memo to the board was in the packet, but I think the implication of that recommendation would be that we'd be accepting 3 to 4 new students due primarily to graduation.
And I'll ask my annual question because I always forget. The student enrolls here through school choice as a sophomore. They maintain that spot as long as there are spots available. It's guaranteed. So, yes, Nick.
Why is 15 the magic number?
Well, historically, that's sort of the number that we've done, and that was originally based on feeling like the capacity in terms of class sizes and things, of assuming a 630 or 35 student building.
You could go up, presume. You have capacity for more.
It would depend on some classes. I think it would be very tight.
Oh,
We have I think a significant number of classes that run at capacity now. And they tend to be, again, it depends on the program. Science courses like chemistry and things like that. Capacity. So if a student came in, we had more students than we have now. They might not be able to get those courses if they want. So I think that 600 that we're staffed well for the 635 students.
So,
Hey, go ahead, Allison.
is it fair to say from this formulation that school choice is a privilege, not a right? Because there's a capacity of how many you can take and so forth.
That's an interesting question. School choice is a law, legislated, mandated, so to that extent it's a right. There's a lot of regulation and procedure around how some access. Part of that is it's the board's responsibility to determine capacity. And I think the implication behind that is that they don't want schools to say, no, we have no capacity.
Of course, it's a right to be entered into a lottery for the spaces that are available.
We, for the past several years, have had more people applying, and we've had space, and to regulate the law, directs us to hold the lottery to make the selection.
Okay, how about a motion setting that level at 15? So, thank you. JP moves that we set the school choice capacity at 15. A second? Thank you, Dick. All those in favor of 15 as that level, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Anyone abstaining? All right. Unanimous passing. Okay, we are now on to the budget.
All right. Wow, great.
The budget.
That's interesting. It says, why not vote?
Just get it.
Uh-oh. So these are our updated budget information. The top is a memo from David and an updated finance page and the budget. And I'm sorry if this didn't get out sooner. We finished this at 6:15.
Does that mean page 2 has changed since the one we were emailing?
Yes,
Days
this is,
ago?
yeah, okay. This is the most updated. Not very much. So he went ahead in the memo and really just kind of talked about draft to draft from, this is from the December draft to the January draft, early December draft. And then outline some of the changes in expenditure and revenues. We have information on the third set of boxes on the manual page regarding Act 76 and compliance and compliance people. So this budget is $71,000 under the cost containment measures that we can implement. It also includes the proposed transfer of $300,000 to the capital reserve and replacement fund, which we will get to when we cover warnings. Turning to the second page, all of our revenue numbers have been updated, and as you can see, the tax implications and the the effect of the decreased tax rate here has had a positive effect on all the local town budgets as well. The UD3 portion that's in the elementary, that mingles with the elementary.
So we're helping to pull down tax rates.
Yes.
All right, great.
So there aren't any significant changes. We did, as I think I mentioned, go through budgets again to make sure that all of our payroll was accurate. We went through revenue again. We had a second team working on all of our budgets. They were in significant contact with Bill and Patrick, checking on figures and people, and so some of those numbers did change slightly based on things that were unearthed in that secondary review, and we feel pretty confident about where we got to. Bill, Patrick, anything to add?
Oh, I'm sorry. Laura, go ahead.
I just had a question. The proposal to transfer 300,000 of the fund balance, was it considered to transfer more considering this is now going to be commingled funds? Was that?
But that's a hypothetical. Are you talking about
Well, what's
the
left in our fund balance?
300,000 or?
No, what's left in the fund balance will become part of the unified district money.
No, it goes into the FY17. It reduces taxes for all towns. The remaining 306 goes towards the budget.
Okay,
So
is that
it brings down the tax rate.
Right, but putting the 300 into the capital reserve, correct? Was it considered to do less than 300 in capital reserve?
Yes.
Facilities,
Yeah, facilities, Ray, do you want to speak to this?
I'm sorry.
Facilities, and what's that?
You're hearing that this 300,000 is going to specific UD3 projects or Cedar Bar.
Right, okay, it is, okay. Okay, that's what I was getting at, was this money going to be used for stuff we needed it here for? Okay.
And we presented that to the board back in the fall. Quite a bit of meeting, yes.
So, how we talk about the budget, just to sort of be somewhat uniform, we generally talk about it when people say, how big is your budget? It's usually the grand totals of the two schools plus what we do at Hanover Career Center. We don't necessarily throw in the 300,000. So if you're looking for grand totals, they're on the final page. So what we're talking about here is the proposed budget of $18,720,000. Mark or Laura, do you guys want to talk a bit at all about the Career Center base payment and tuition assessment going down, or is that just based on?
That's really based on,
Attendance.
the number of students, that's what the big driver is, the number of students that are being allocated to Middlebury. But the budget increase is very modest. I don't remember what it's about. 70%, I think.
Whatever the cost of the
Let me get that right.
You are not understanding that. I understand that rules.
Right, we don't have it.
However, they, in creating that budget, heard from three of the
Yeah.
school districts, very loud.
Are monies for the proposal for early retirement in this or not in this?
They're not.
Additional early retirement funds? Actually, the number was down from what we allocated last year. Early retirement?
Well, that one, I think he's asking about
Any potential new money?
potential.
Yeah, the early retirement money that's in here is to take care of obligations
We are.
from early retirement that's happened.
What have we done in years past concerning that when we offered it last year? Did we build money into the budget in case people took advantage of it? No. We found.
Typically not,
found-
the savings more than offset
Okay.
the cost.
I mean,
We don't incur those expenses
remember,
anyway.
we had 7 people at the high school who retired last year, 5 retired people. 5 retired, it was a significant savings, even after paying some of those costs.
Further questions, comments?
Hold on.
Yeah. Well, see that negative number next to equal secondary homestead tax rate is some kind of wonderful. So, so we need a motion to approve the budget, approve it for adoption.
If we have comments, we wait until the motion's made.
No, okay, why don't you make them right now?
Okay. I just wanted to say, I know we're not supposed to micromanage the budget and make specific line item comments necessarily, because we're voting on the total budget. But I was a little uncomfortable with the new position, since it is a new position and not original money for the school counselor, guidance, college position. Just because I felt like it kind of came on very quickly and was not a lot of discussion beforehand. And my hope is that the administrators and guidance office feel that this is really necessary and that's not being done to appease people necessarily. And I'm not saying that we do need it or don't need it. I don't know what other schools do, I don't know. But my feeling was just, I was just a little concerned as to how and why that was put in. So that's my main comment.
All right, anybody else? So, how about a motion to approve the FY 1783 budget? Laura beat you, sorry, Gary. Time, right? You get the second, though.
Okay.
All right.
I think it's the connection.
All right, any further conversation on this before we go ahead to a vote? If not, all those in favor of approving the FY 1783 budget, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Anybody choosing to abstain? All right, another unanimous vote. Well done, everybody. Okay, speaking with the theme of budget, we discussed the opening up early retirement option B. Doing that and for how many? And do we have a recommendation?
Well, at our last meeting, I recommended that we open up the early retirement. We were waiting to see what happened with the budget. I think based on what's happening with the legislative session and where our budget is at, we don't absolutely need it this year to stay under a cap or to fall within a certain range. However, I feel like it would be effective looking ahead to FY18 and some changes that we see coming to open up a number of slots this year for early retirement.
Any recommendation on slots? Are you okay with that? Anybody got any questions or comments on this? All right. Rick has moved that we open up option B for unlimited slots in the UD3 collective bargaining agreement. How about a second?
Second.
Or seconds. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Anybody abstaining? Excellent. All right, so now we've got that work done, we need to approve the school district warning. This is the warning that tells people when to vote on the budget, but also tells them to come to our annual meeting. And more importantly, it talks about the $300,000. So page 1 is pretty much pro forma, the usual stuff. Okay, and we have a little typo after Article 4 should be Article 5, that would be corrected. So the real meat of this is the 300,000. What we're really saying is that we are in favor of putting that money toward these capital improvements that were presented to us previously. All right, we'll do this very formally. Let's have a motion to adopt the Community District 3 warning.
Second.
All right, thank you both. Any discussion? All right. Very good. Corrections may be made later in the polling hours to be confirmed. The Article 4, Article 6, we changed to Article 5, and so forth. So all those in favor,
Yeah, how much this is being in the notes, because I'm not able to keep up.
Every
Just-
word.
oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
That would be
Have you adopted these yet?
No,
So I just had a question about, because this is the first time I've seen these, Article 4, it's listed as Article 4.
Yep.
Is there, in past warrants, we itemized some description of the way that 300,000 was to be voted? I wonder if there's a need, I assume we did that for a reason. I wonder if there's a need for that.
So what you're saying is that in years past, we've itemized
Yeah,
what it was to go for?
because I think in case people didn't want to support a certain thing.
We looked, we haven't always done that. And we're not required to do it.
You know, okay, that was my question, whether it's required, because I know you have done it, and I think that's been
I think it's
a point of sort of transparency for.
I'd like to see it in there, but I don't. Is there kind of a consent on that, that we'd like to see the itemized?
I don't necessarily want to see it otherwise. I think the reserve fund speaks for itself. And we have a budget that's on, and we have it in there.
And I'm not raising this point of view, I just want to make certain I appreciate it.
So I guess what we would need is an amendment. We need an amendment to the motion. If somebody would like it, people would like to see that itemized list as part of the article. Here exactly.
would be itemized?
What's that?
What exactly would be itemized?
Under Article 4,
Yeah.
the wording there would also include what the money is spent on in an itemized way. In other words,
Security upgrades and.
Two items.
Rick moved an amendment. Lorraine seconded. To change Article 4 to include a description of the two, a brief description of the two improvements to be paid for by the $300,000. Okay, so now we have an amendment on the floor. All those in favor of the amendment? There's no further discussion. Yes.
We can vote on the amendment without actually having the wording.
Comfort with that. We can. The answer to your question is yes.
Yeah, that's fine later.
All right. Any further discussion on the amendment? All those in favor of the amendment to the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
No.
All right. This is getting exciting. Let's have a show of hands. All those in favor say aye. Raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The amendment is defeated. Oh, that's the one. All right, back to the original motion. All those in favor of adopting the warning with the brief corrections that we described, meaning Article 6 changed to Article 5, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, we have adopted our warning, and a reminder to everybody that our annual meeting is our next meeting on February 23rd. All right, so now we're going to set the tuition rate, which we do every year. So I would like a motion to set the proposed tuition rate for the next school year at $16,809. This is based on, I assume, legally mandated calculations. Everyone make
So moved.
Thank you, Jerry.
Second.
Second. Okay, all those in favor of setting the tuition rate for UD3 at $16,809, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we adopted a tuition rate. And that is that. And if you need to go, you can certainly go right ahead.
I've got a few other folks that are all.
Just to knock out a couple other things quickly.
Was one of those messages to you that Cornwall board requested?
Yeah, I got a couple texts. I'm headed there
We
now.
promised to pass that up.
All right, facilities committee, is there a report beyond what was mailed to us? I know we got it.
No.
Very good. Okay. We've had a good run here. Let's continue action. We'll be back to somebody like to propose we ratify the support staff contract. All right, we got a sure and a so we're going to go with the same one.
Wicked sure.
Okay, all those in favor of ratifying the support staff contract, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, excellent. Rick, you take on the charge for the update? Would Ray like to? Would Devin like to? He's not here.
Well, I'd like to,
I'm certainly looking for him. Oh, I guess it was just put on. It was just put on there. I guess as a placeholder. Okay.
You got a slideshow, man.
But I would like to say the unification vote is coming up a lot faster than we think it is. If you don't feel comfortable answering people's questions, I would say first get educated on what it's all about, but more importantly, direct them to somebody else if they'd like to ask questions, make a comment, and Lorraine's on the charter committee. Rick and I have been doing presentations, so you're welcome to direct them to anybody.
I know quite a bit about it.
Yeah, and Mark's been hearing everybody's presentations of the important education. And I will just emphasize that the perspective of the UD3 board members is actually very helpful to people because we are the exact same board that's being proposed. And I think the way we operate without talking about what transfer funds or anything like that is helps people understand that a board can function without town borders. All right, Jerry. It wasn't on the agenda, but we need to talk about policy FFA, which was in our packet. This talks about naming school facilities. This is a review only. So people, anything you want to add to it, Jerry, to the discussion?
Yes, I would just say that this draft was put together by taking bits and pieces from other school districts on naming policies. And it does not have to be as long as it is. If the board feels that it would like to do away with certain parts of it here, obviously you could add things as well. So this draft is a starting point for discussion.
And so we review it tonight. We review it one more time before we take action. Is that right?
That is right, and it could be more than that. If you wish to continue to modify it next time, obviously the board has that option.
Yeah. So folks, if you just read over carefully and bring your thoughts at our next meeting, that would be helpful. Lori, anything again? Yes?
Well, in terms of the policy, I raised the issue once before, because the policies entitled district facilities, which to me is all encompassing, yet the language seems to specifically address building. Again, one of the more common things that we're approached on in terms of naming are fields. So I don't know whether there needs to be more clarity in the policy regarding fields specifically.
If I may, that's an option that the board has. The wording here uses the word facility on purpose. That would include things like fields. In the past, the UD3 has named fields without board action. This policy would mean that the board would take over responsibility for that. If the board wishes to not take that on, obviously those words could be changed so that it would apply to buildings only.
I'm only putting out in terms of making certain that it's clear in the language. I mean, I clearly think that it should be the board that does that. It shouldn't be up to the principal to make or some special committee to make something.
On the other hand, I don't want to be naming trophy cases and water fountains and things like that.
School boards.
All right, so anyway, think about it. Bring your comments in our next meeting. Any items for future meetings that people would like to bring up? We've got a fairly beefy amount to go on next week, mainly because we have our annual meeting, and after that, we're inviting people to use that as kind of the last public forum about unification. That will be after our meeting adjourns.
Our next meeting is Thursday, 7:30.
Oh, yes, our next meeting is Thursday, 7:30 this week.
7:30.
And
Right, okay.
there was some meeting
Thanks.
about 2 weeks from now.
No, then we're not.
Just want to show on the calendar.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, that is true, because this is the second. So we'll determine whether a meeting for the first Tuesday is warranted in February.
So the
And the answer to that is
32nd.
probably
And you're going to send an email reminder to everyone just who wasn't here about the meeting?
the people who are here.
That'll be on the ground. That'll be on Groundhog Day.
Oh, no, I really just expected.
Here, much time?
Yeah, so we'll look at the level of action that we need to be taking for February, and see if 2 meetings are needed.
So, so it would be the second, it would be February, what would it be, the third? Would it be?
It's on this second.
It would be the second, it's not embarrassing. The agenda says that.
Okay, well, whatever that Tuesday is,
That's, I don't know, you said the third time.
So we'll be alerted if there isn't.
third Tuesday. This will work.
It would definitely be on the 23rd. I'm sorry I'm doing this, because
Yes.
I have trouble getting it.
Yes, and that's tricky, I think the 23rd is during vacation,
Set up.
if I'm not mistaken. It's because we keep holding vacation during President's Day. I gotta stop that policy.
23rd, Peter, is the week after.
Oh, it's that.
Vacation's the week of the first.
So the heat will be on. I see. So plan on whatever the first Tuesday of February is, unless you hear otherwise.
What? Did you just see
So we are doing something like this.
So we also,
Just keep it blocked out as, unless you hear otherwise. Let's keep it as a fall.
Yes.
All right.
This is the 23rd.
I will make a motion to adjourn. Administrative people, don't leave without signing my.
All those in favor of adjourning, please say aye. Thank you all. And please remember Thursday morning, 7:30 at the library.